Kohanski, the 23-year-old rocker from Tennessee.
So Chloe is the winner of The Voice Season 13, which is so exciting, and in a few minutes she'll be right here to talk to us with Coach Blake, so don't go anywhere.
All right, if you want to ask a question, just raise your hand and...
Give me this. Don't flash the audience.
Okay.
Still coaching. I swear, after last season, I swore I would never try to assume who was going to win this show again. Somehow in my mind, I told Chris Blue tonight, I said, man, I just knew Dusty was going to win last season, and you beat me. What the hell's the matter with you, you know? Because I had it in my mind, you know. I think there's, you know, watching iTunes is so deceiving, you know. And then somebody like Chloe comes along, and watching iTunes is exactly, goes right along with what we've learned all season, so, you know, I don't know what the hell's going on around this show.
I think for me personally, I know I never had a moment where I thought like, oh yeah, I have this in the bag. But what I did notice was just personal growth throughout the competition, and just watching, you know, not like obsessively, but just going back and watching performances and thinking like, okay, something's happening. Like every time I'm almost like evolving a little bit more and more as an artist. So it just instilled a lot of confidence in me. Not like I had it in the bag, but just confidence in general, you know? Like coming onto the show, I didn't really have any, if I'm being honest. So no matter what, I was like, I'm walking away with a sense of who I am, even if that's just the beginning, you know? If that answers your question.
Thank you. Hi, in the middle. How important is it that you won with Blake? Because Blake remembers his past contestants, so
yeah.
You're going to be well taken care of.
Yeah, well, I do feel that way, but I also feel like if I wouldn't have won, and if it would have been anybody else, I believe, you know, Blake, when he says that, you know, he does take care of his team and his people that he works with, and, you know, whatever that would have looked like, even if that was just being able to pick up the phone and ask for advice, I think that would have been something that would have happened regardless of winning. So I'm very stoked that we won this together. That's very fun. But regardless, I think we would have, you know, worked together and, you know, like keep it going. It's not just for the show. It's real.
People love Chloe, and I think it's something that people have been starving for musically, what she does, and I truly, it's hard to say this without people going, oh my God, we've heard that. But I truly think Chloe can go on from here and become really the first superstar. Let's not even take it that far. Let's just say star. The first star that we've had come out of this show that can have some hit songs and stuff. I do think you can be a superstar. I'm just trying not to hex this thing. I think that when somebody with a voice like you have can get their hands on the right songs and get, you know, a record company behind them, how do you ignore her voice? How do you not want to own a record that has her voice on it? Something's wrong with you. Something's physically wrong with you if you don't want that, right? That's how I feel.
Blake, what was it about Chloe that made you want to have her be on Team Blake? She's different from a lot of the country contestants you usually coach.
So yeah, I mean, definitely the way that the preliminary rounds are set up, you know, you're told that there are steals, you're aware of that, but it's kind of presented to you in a way of like, you gotta be something to get one of these steals. Like, you know, they don't use them on just anybody. It's like a big moment. So going into it, you don't bank on getting the steal. You bank on just winning. And this is the one thing that I've said, like that song, I was very confident. That was like a song that I was like, okay, landslide, like I can do this. Yes, it's slow, but I'm confident in this song. And all of a sudden I'm standing up there and I'm thinking like, okay, yeah, I got this, you know? And then Miley's like, no you don't. And I'm like, okay, like, whoa, that was short. That was not the experience that I thought I was gonna have. And then all this is happening in a matter of like, you know, seconds. And then Blake and Jennifer push their buttons to steal me. And I remember thinking like, I had no plan because Miley was my only plan. And all of a sudden I thought, okay, I gotta look for something I can relate to. And just from the few comments Blake had made to me and just hearing about him as a person, you know, because I'm from Nashville, so I've heard of you outside of The Voice. I've heard of you just from word of mouth, just people speaking on your behalf. And they speak so highly of you, so I was like, yeah, in like the few seconds, I was like, I'm gonna go with Blake, even though this makes no sense. On paper, the P's are gonna really like pronounce there, but like on paper, it didn't make sense, but it works, you know? I think it works.
No, actually, it worked.
Yeah.
You know, look, I've worked with all kinds of, who asked that question? I've worked with all kinds of artists on this show. I mean, you name it, and they have been on my team at some point, I think. And I think it was, it needed, especially this year, it just feels like this powerful female, and I didn't know it at the time, but now when you look back on things, you go, of course, this is meant to be that she would win this show. That not only just a female would win this show, but this rock and roll female would win this show. Because we've never even had a rock artist, like a true rock artist. Well, that's not true. Terry McDermott did very well on the show. It's been a long time ago, though. But we've never had a rock artist actually win the show. And for Chloe to break down that wall and just pretty much just break the mold of what we've seen on this show, it was just, it was awesome. And so, I don't remember what your question was, but that's the damn answer you got.
Well, did you know in your mind, like, if she was going to be let go? Was she always a contestant where you're like, if I have a chance to steal, I'm going to do it?
Well, of course, you know, I can't, I'm not going to sit here and say, I knew all along, damn it.
Well, no, but I just...
But
like,
I will say that, look, I'm not the sharpest knife in the drawer. I just know what I like. And I knew that I loved her voice. That was way before we knew how people were going to react to her, and when America got a chance to hear her, that they were going to buy crap loads of her music. You know, I thought, well, I like that. I think that's awesome. I want her on my team. Every time I had a chance, I'd try to get her on my team. And that's really the way I've approached being a coach on this show from the beginning. Is, you know, I try not to overthink anything and just go with what moves me, you know.